G15 suspected to be held this year. SUPP to announce G15 candidates soon. White House lit orange for gun violence awareness. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Shosha Metro and this is TVS Nightline. For the past few months, questions loom on whether the 15th general election or G15 will be held this year or next year when the Parliament full term expires. Deputy Premier Sarawak Dr. Sri Dr. Sim Gui Hian today said he suspects that G15 will be held this year given the political instability in West Malaysia.
I suspect, given the instability and the division in Malaya, in West Malaysia, the GE will be this year. The GE will be this year, and Sarawak just had to get ready because Sarawak future and our rights under MA63, the last mile will depend very much on this GE15.
With that, he said Sarawak needs to remain focused and continue its momentum to ensure that all development plans can continue, citing that support must continue to be given to Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS because the party represents what's best for Sarawak and will continue to fight for Sarawak's rights.
We have to remain focused for the next, which is our GE15. GE15, there's no question that for Sarawak, we, like our Premier said, we want to win all if possible because GPS represent the best of Sarawak.
He said so when met by reporters after officiating the 63rd anniversary celebration of the Sarawak United People's Party SUPP on Saturday. In a similar development, SUPP will be announcing its 7 potential candidates to be fielded in the upcoming 15th general election in the next few weeks. To ensure that SUPP fields the best candidates, the party has formed 7 parliamentary liaison committees, which will be entrusted with finalizing candidates which best represents the party.
Because everybody wants their own branch nomination. So that's why we quickly formed the Parliamentary Liaison Committee so that they can sit down and iron out in the next few weeks so that we can announce it and introduce them to the public soon.
When asked whether there will be any state assemblymen fielded for the parliamentary seats, he said that it is highly unlikely as they prefer to spread out the responsibilities. The decision to not field any state assemblymen is also because the party is not short of good candidates, as more young leaders have proven their capabilities in the party.
Highly unlikely. Because we got so many people who are talented, who are willing to serve, willing to contribute, and let's share out our responsibility. Let's share our jobs. Try to spread out the responsibility, the opportunities to as many people as possible. It's not easy to be holding both Adung and Parliament because the Parliament sitting is 4 months a year. You are expected to be in KL for 4 months a year, and then at the same time, if you want Adung, then there are more meetings here. So for SUP, you can see that we got a lot of young talents coming out. We are not short of candidates, potential candidates.
In the wake of the latest wave of mass shootings to stun the United States, the north facade of the White House was illuminated in orange on Friday, June 3. This was to mark the National Gun Violence Awareness Day. The illumination began on Friday at sunset through 1:30 a.m. on Saturday, June 4. The United States, which has a higher rate of gun deaths than any other wealthy nation, has seen a spate of horrific mass killings in recent weeks, including the largest mass school shooting in nearly 10 years. In other matters, there is some concern among health experts that monkeypox and other infectious diseases could be transmitted to animals via human medical waste as cases of the virus surge outside of Africa.
The president of the World Organization of Animal Health said that scientists are baffled as to what is driving the current crop of monkeypox cases, mostly identified in Europe so far, given they are predominantly not linked to travel to Africa, where it is endemic.
Because we are concerned about rodents picking this up, so we do have to think about human medical waste, like behind a rural local clinic. If they're putting their waste outside until it's disposed of properly later in the week, you have an opportunity for animals to tear those bags open and for rodents to get in there and get infected. So we want to always be thinking also about that biosafety, biosecurity aspect to prevent. That's another opportunity for spillback in addition to just direct spillback from an infected human to an animal. We might be doing it through medical waste.
At least 650 confirmed cases of monkeypox have been reported by 26 countries in the latest outbreak, according to the World Health Organization, WHO. As the virus circulates outside of Africa, there is an opportunity for spillback into animal populations, which could potentially make the virus endemic in countries beyond Africa.
Cases have been reported in 26 countries across 4 WHO regions. Right now, we're at about 643 confirmed cases, with additional probable and numerous suspected cases across these countries. There's a map on the right that illustrates where the confirmed cases have been reported. But as surveillance increases, as attention increases, we expect that more cases will be identified. These patterns are not typical to what we would expect, and Paul has outlined what we have seen in the past over many decades. The human-to-human spread in non-endemic countries is not typical to what we have seen in the past. Our early epidemiology of this is informed by what surveillance is telling us. So we do see a wide geographic scope, and certainly with the large number of cases in large number of countries that have reported cases that are not used to seeing monkeypox, this suggests to us widespread human-to-human transmission is currently underway. That has likely have been ongoing for several weeks, if not months.
Countries in Africa have experienced sporadic monkeypox outbreaks since the virus was first discovered in humans in 1970. In Nigeria, there has been an outgoing outbreak since 2017. The virus was discovered in laboratory monkeys in 1958, and since then, various animal species, including squirrels and rats, have been identified as susceptible to it. It is understood to have jumped to humans from the animals in which it circulates, but which species are implicated in the spillover remains unclear.
Coming up after the break, Ringgit to trade range-bound against greenback. Indonesia intensifies search for foreign investors. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned.
TVS
Welcome back to the Nightline. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today gave the first group of Malaysian Hajj pilgrims departing for Saudi Arabia a warm send-off at the Movenpick Convention Centre. The first group of 295 pilgrims had departed for the Holy Land at 1:35 p.m. today from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA.
The Saudi Arabian government has allocated a Hajj quota of 14,306 pilgrims to Malaysia this year. Malaysian pilgrims were unable to perform Hajj for 2 years in 2020 and 2021 due to restrictions following the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, a total of 48 Malaysia Airlines and Saudi Airlines flights will bring Malaysian pilgrims to the Holy Land, with the last flight on July 3rd.
National car maker Proton Holdings Berhad sales rose 10.8% month-on-month in May 2022 as the company ramped up production after overcoming parts shortage issues. The figure marks an increase of 3.7% compared to a year earlier.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer Roslan Abdullah said the increase in sales in May from the 8,839 units sold in April was a direct result of the company boosting its production volume to catch up to market demand. Meanwhile, the Proton X50 continues to dominate the sport utility vehicle SUV market, making it the market leader for B-segment SUVs as well as the overall leader for the SUV market. The other two Proton models that continue to lead their respective segments are Proton X70 and Proton Exora. Compared to the overall automotive market, he said Proton retains its position as the second most popular car brand in the country, with an estimated market share of 19.6%, while YTD market share is currently estimated at 17.1%.
An Indonesian man believed to be involved in several burglary incidents around Miri was arrested by local police yesterday at June 3. The suspect in his early 20s was detained at the Morsajaya Commercial Centre by a team of police from the Criminal Investigation Division, Miri Police Patrol Unit and several volunteers.
The arrest was made during the Op Gawai and Op Kesan operation, which was done in the area. Miri District Police Chief, Assistant Commissioner Alexan Nagachabu said, further examination of the suspect found that he was in possession of a modified equipment. When contacted, Alexan said the confiscated customized equipment was suspected to have been used for the criminal activity. He also reiterated that the suspect and the confiscated items were remanded for 4 days to assist in the investigation under Section 380 and Section 457 of the Penal Code. Meanwhile, Alexan also said that the Op Gawai and Op Kesan have achieved their goal with the cooperation of the public in an effort to combat crime in the district.
The ringgit is expected to trade range-bound next week as investors remained cautious in the face of global inflation expectations.
Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid said the ringgit is likely to hover in a narrow range between 4 ringgit and 38 cents and 4 ringgit 39 cents next week against the greenback. On Wednesday, the Department of Statistics Malaysia reported that Malaysia's inflation rate increased by 2.5%, driven by the rising food and fuel prices in 2021. The increase was higher compared to the 0.7% inflation rate recorded during the pre-pandemic year of 2019. Meanwhile, the global growth outlook could support the US dollar and turn investors away from riskier Malaysian assets. For the week just ended, the ringgit was mostly lower as the US dollar strengthened after the US Treasury yield edged higher, coupled with higher inflation data amid volatility in the oil prices. On a weekly basis, the ringgit was weaker against the greenback on Friday compared to a week earlier. The ringgit was marginally higher against the Singapore dollar from a week earlier and improved vis-a-vis the Japanese yen. However, it depreciated against the euro and slightly weakened versus the British pound. The market will be closed on Monday in conjunction with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's official birthday.
Top priority will be given to Sabah in the nation's telecommunication development plans. The Minister of Communications and Multimedia, Tan Sri Anwar Musa, said over 1 billion ringgit had been allocated to implement various telecommunication programs under the National Digital Network Plan or JENDELA.
Pada masa ini pun lebih daripada 1 bilion telah pun diperuntukkan dan diluluskan dan sedang dilaksanakan baik di bawah program Jendela ataupun program Point of Presence serta pembekalan perkhidmatan jalur lebar termasuk di kawasan-kawasan jauh di pendalaman.
As such, Anwar had ensured that programs under KCOM and its agencies, as well as companies including telcos that are jointly involved, would be given full attention to telecommunication development.
Jaminan saya pada Ketua Menteri, kita akan bekerja kuat dan memberikan keutamaan yang tinggi kepada negeri Sabah.
He said this in his speech at the Riohbah bersama Hotlink program at the Sabah International Convention Center.
In the past 2 weeks, the Indonesian government has been intensively wooing a number of potential investors to finance the construction of its new capital city, the capital city of Nusantara, IKN. The mega project has been targeted to be completed by 2045. While the current capital, Jakarta, is located in Java, the country's most populous island, the new capital will be built in an area covering 256,142 hectares of land of Kalimantan. On Thursday, head of the IKN authority, Bambang Susantono, met with British former Prime Minister Tony Blair in Jakarta, hoping that Britain can help develop the new capital as it offers a lot of potential for investors. Susantono invited Blair to visit Kalimantan to see the construction process of the IKN project in September this year. On Tuesday, Indonesian Minister for Energy and Mineral Resources, Arifin Tasrif, paid a visit to German-based energy company Siemens Energy AG in Munich. He said that the company is interested in developing the renewable energy sector in the IKN, including building education facilities to support human resource improvement in the region. On Monday, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investments, Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, invited the Dutch government and business players to invest in the IKN during his visit to Den Haag, the Netherlands. He also met with Mark Harbers, the Dutch Minister of Infrastructure and Water Management, asking for green economy investment in the IKN through a blended finance program. Thank you for staying with me. Around 100 Corgi dogs and their owners took part in a parade near Buckingham Palace to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee on Friday, June 3. Many of the dogs wore festive neckerchiefs with Union Jack flags on. One was spotted kitted out in ceremonial uniform. Tom Chi, who was there with his 15-month-old dog Cheddar, said he was drawn to the breed because they are loyal and cute. NHS manager Jodie Taggart also said they're cuddly and just very British with the Queen. Britain's Queen Elizabeth has owned more than 30 corgis over the course of her reign, including 14 generations of the same dog family. The Queen's father, King George VI, was the first British royal to have one of the small dogs. Event organizer Agatha Gilbert said the parade felt the best way to celebrate the Jubilee. All participants are members of either UK Corgi Club or Great Corgi Club of Britain. A police officer asked for a picture with the dogs, while passers-by stopped to take pictures with them. Britain is celebrating the Queen's record-breaking 70 years on the throne over the weekend, with events including a party and pageant still to come. Let's wrap up the Nightline with this feature. Sam, the four-legged superhero, works to keep a park in Chile's capital clean and green, and a dog superpower, collecting garbage as a role model for visitors.
The Border Collie, who takes regular walks in Santiago's Metropolitan Park with his owner, has become famous for wearing a green cape in a comic used as an educational guide. It all started when Sam and Gonzalo Chiang had to stop again and again in the city's largest green area to pick up plastic bottle, masks, cans, and food packages. Park officials were impressed by Sam, who visits the tourist attraction at least 3 times a week, and decided to use his image in its park care campaign. Artists turned the 5.5-year-old collie into a cartoon as Sam, the Parkumet superhero, telling visitors to take their waste with them or use one of the more than 40 recycling points throughout the park.
Al Sam lo reflejan súper bien. El artista que hizo las ilustraciones logró captar mucho lo que es de Sam, y el mensaje mismo del instructivo, cómo está plasmado, también es el mensaje que yo siento que es el correcto, porque estos lugares no son los cuales a los que uno tiene que traer basura, traer basura, dejarla no es lo correcto. Entonces el mensaje que lleva el parque en torno a llevarse la basura, y si no puedes, recíclala en los 42 puntos que hay acá en el cerro, es súper correcto.
De ahí que visitantes como Sam son increíbles ejemplos para que puedan conocer todos nuestros visitantes y que puedan seguir su ejemplo y seguirse línea. Su línea no solamente en el trabajo con la basura y cuidar no dejar basura en nuestro parque, sino que puedan acompañarnos en esta estructura de trabajo, en esta forma de trabajo, en esta forma de mirar el día a día en Santiago, buscando ser cada vez más cuidadosos con el medio ambiente, cuidar nuestros bosques, cuidar nuestros parques.
According to an official count, in April alone, Sam and Gonzalo collected 602 masks, 585 bottles, and 304 cans, in addition to clothing, helmets, and food wrappers.
Get to know the insight from singer and content creator Roxy Igzy on her first single, Satya, and know what it's like from an entrepreneur Nurul Arfika Ali, who grinds her way into making her cornflakes business a success. Get some insights with both of our guests on this lively topic on Sejahtera Asia tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Review. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Cheryl Shaminato. Thank you for watching.